Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to a retro rumours segment where Terry McAllister and myself are going to look through some of the transfer rumours of yesteryear that stick with us Evertonians. Maybe it was a missed opportunity or a saga that dragged, or a thank God we didn't get them. We're going to be going through a good few of them anyway in this show, and we're going to start this one, Terry, in the summer of 2012. David Moyes was keen to bolster the squad, and we were linked with Fulham's American star, Clint Dempsey. Dempsey was reportedly available for around $8 million that summer, with his contract expiring the year after. And we were that skint we could only muster the $5 million. Terry, do you remember this well?
Sort of. Like, I didn't remember it until we, spoke about it before we filmed. When I think of Clint Dempsey, I just think of Liverpool going for him, because Liverpool were quite keen to get him, and I remember one deadline day they were negotiating for him, and obviously the deal fell through, and they all went home. And Sky Sports Liverpool's executives have left and switched the lights off. I remember all Liverpool fans were going nuts on social media. I actually didn't remember he was linked with us until.
Well, this was actually, I think it was this was the summer where Spurs did the double on them. I think with They already brought Gylfi Sigurdsson in when Liverpool were after him, apparently. So, wouldn't have been great if Liverpool got Sigurdsson.
Not at that time, it wouldn't, because he was still all right there. So, wouldn't still be there now, was he, with that work rate?
Exactly, he'd be a Barca by now.
Who did we have as strikers in 2012?
We had Nikita Jelavic, Victor Anichebe, and Steve Naismith.
Was this when Jelavic was still good?
Yeah, Jelavic was his stock was at his highest, and it was supposed to be he'd come in and play with Jelavic, I think.
Yeah, he wouldn't have lasted, I don't think. It would have been nice to have another, American player. I like the connection we've got with the USA players, like Tim Howard and Landon Donovan and what have you. But I think at that point he'd have probably not got in. He wouldn't have got in for long under Moyes with Jelavic there, and then not long after Martinez had come in, wouldn't he? And he really favoured Naismith, and then obviously Lukaku. So I think Dempsey would have been one of the type of players we've got a lot of now, where he would have been all right for one season maybe, and then we'd just been trying to sell him for the rest of his contract.
Well, it's funny you should mention Martinez, because we were linked with them again when Martinez took over the year after. He was expected to come in, and you mentioned Landon Donovan. It was meant to be one of them, like a Landon Donovan style, 2-month loan deal, where he'd come in and play during the MLS off-season. And we were linked with bringing him in on loan in January 2014. Not sure if that would have been something you'd have entertained.
No, it was well too late by that point, wasn't it? Let's be honest. I don't think we missed out not having him a few years earlier when he was, he was really at his best. Even then, he wasn't a game-changing striker, was he? He wasn't something that would have made us a whole lot different. But, he wouldn't have been bad, but he wouldn't have been good either.
So that's pretty much that on that one. Clearly, Terry wasn't a mad Dempsey fan there.
Not especially. I'm sort of ambivalent towards him the same way I am now.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been good, though, to see us get him in on loan in early 2014, because, of course, we were managed by Martinez, and that season we already had the Lukaku, Barry, and Delafeu trio, and I can just imagine that one more loan deal, maybe even for Clint Dempsey, if it was just completely made Martin Samuel's head explode.
Yeah. I don't even think you can have more than 3, can you? I mean, maybe you could then, I don't know.
But well, if you could, Roberto Martinez would have tried.
Would have done it. The Everton FC.
Everton, I miss those days. We were actually all right then.
Yeah. It's probably the last time we were good.
Yeah, to be fair. And we're going to stay with the Roberto Martinez era and the slightly worse part of it. In the summer of 2015, next up, we were looking for more reinforcements in 2015 on the cheap. Of course, the Farhad Mashiri takeover was still a few months away at this point, and according to Sportsmole, in the summer of 2015, we were considering turning to Barcelona's Sergi Roberto, who was still on the fringes of the Barca setup at the time. Of course, this was again on loan. The Barcelona player on loan was literally the most Roberto Martinez rumour ever, isn't it? Really, he's to be admired by the ultimate tippy tappy merchant, Roberto Martinez, and it's very believable. Let's be honest.
Yeah, he'd have been quality. I think he's a good player. He would have had the distinction of being one of the players I would have bought on Football Manager and come good for me. Like, I've had that happen a couple of times in my life. I bought Arteta before he was at Everton and he came good. It's not to speak of myself as a scout or anything, but it just means a lot more to you when you feel like, yeah, I knew him before he was at Everton.
I thought I did that in 2017 when I had, like, on FIFA 17, I brought Sandro in. And I thought, oh my God, Everton are doing brilliant here. They're bringing in the Sandro, and then, that happened. Yeah, so I will never allow myself to gauge too much off FIFA or Football Manager or any of that.
I think the only two I've ever done with varying levels of success, as you'll soon discover, is obviously LMA Manager. It was I brought in Mikel Arteta, and he was quality for me, and we all conquered an Everton team. He was bought from Rangers. That's how long ago it was. But then I also, a few years later on FIFA, bought Lassina Traore, and he was quality for me. But in real life, not so much.
Yeah, well, I can't even remember who it was I was playing with on FIFA. It wasn't even Everton, but I just brought Sandro in, and he was a beast, and I was like buzzing that we bought him. And yeah, it was just, yeah, so obviously I was that buzzing that we got Sandro, and the fact that I had him in my FIFA team. I bought Sandro on the back of my shirt in 2017, and yeah, let's just say I was very pleased when Sport Pesa did the Kits for Africa thing, because it was very quick to donate that.
But yeah, Sergi Roberto would have, back on topic, he would have been a brilliant player for us. Whether he plays a lot of right back for he was like an upmarket Delph. He played a full back for Barca because they were so good, but he was a centre mid. So he'd have probably been good in our centre midfield, but he'd have been like with Barry and McCarthy, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he'd probably been good in Barcelona's midfield at the moment, to be honest.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, but of course, like, it wouldn't have been hard to improve us that year. Of course, McCarthy had a lot of injuries that year, and for the most part, we were absolutely dreadful that season.
Yeah, that was when Martinez's sort of wheels came off that season, wasn't it? Like put
it this way, I think Sergi Roberto would have done a better job standing in at right back than Mo Besic did in that semi-final.
Well, yeah. Not half, but yeah, he's one of the ones from this retro like rundown of rumours. He's been one I would have been happy to have.
Yeah, I think we'd have all took him on loan, like as it was back in those days. But yeah, certainly wouldn't have complained. And this was obviously the same summer we brought Delafeu back from them as well. So been a nice little double swoop there if we were to pull that one off. But that, of course, none of these on this one. None of these were to be. Going back a bit further now for the next one, the summer of 2009, Everton were linked with a former Liverpool talisman. And of course, shortly after Newcastle's relegation, speculation was rife about where Michael Owen's next move would be. And we were one of the possible destinations. Of course, he ended up going to Man United, which was equally as surprising, really. But this one would have definitely been an interesting one. Terry, would Michael Owen have brought us anything extra at that time, or has his stock already fallen by this point?
No, not a single thing. I was one of the people I would have given one of my lungs to get him when he came back from Real Madrid. We just got into the Champions League. He'd just been at Madrid. He'd done well in Madrid despite not playing many games, and he was coming back to the Premier League. And it was literally, it's come out since that he has an arrangement with Liverpool to go back, but Benitez didn't want him. So his options were Newcastle or stay in Madrid, and his wife wanted to come home and what have you. So he was like coming back and we had an interest at the time, whether it was a financial thing or what, because
it was Newcastle a financial thing.
Well, Newcastle at the time had more money than us, which is mad to think about. So even though we just finished in the Champions League, our finances
that's going to change if the We Want Saudi Brigade get their way.
Yeah. We've less said about that, the better. But Owen was coming back, and it was a £17 million move, which was their record deal until like 2 years ago. And I thought, yeah, well, we needed to buy other players. We needed to spend it on other shite like Simon Davis, didn't we? Obviously, but it shows how wrong you can be, because if we'd have done that, that would have ruined us. Like the injuries he got, he wasn't interested. He fell out of love with football. At this point in 2009, when he'd had the whole spell at Newcastle, he was worth less than nothing, rather. I remember I laugh when I think about it now. He put out a brochure at this time when he was a free agent. I'll see if I can find it online and put it on Twitter. there was a brochure of knocked together by Michael Owen's like either agent or publishing partner, and it was like reasons to sign Michael Owen, and one of the things was fresh, cool image, or something like that. And my mate.
God.
My mate made a mock-up where Michael Owen had sunglasses on and was spinning a football on his finger, and we were laughing our heads off at it. But the problem was, my mate came unstuck a couple of weeks later because he supports Man United. So he'd made like a joke cover for that brochure, which was bad enough by itself, and then ended up his club with his club that signed him. But no, absolute waste of space at that point. Didn't want to know football, didn't want to graph for anyone, didn't even want to run. He just, like he said now, he didn't want to run in case he gets injured. What are you playing football for? Then he'd have came here and he'd have just been happy to live in the Northwest again, and he wouldn't have given anything for the badge.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, he's been up the road from Aintree Racecourse, so we've been pretty pleased with that, I think. But
yeah,
I agree with you on this one wholeheartedly. When I was reading through the list of rumours we were going to do, this was the one where I was like, absolute no. It would have been a bit similar to like, it'd have been like the type of sign that we've made far too many of now. It'd be like Rooney coming back, a bit like that, but even worse.
Yeah, it's been well worse because Rooney still had. Yeah, people will know I wasn't the biggest fan of bringing Rooney back. I know I'm not universally, supported in that opinion. But Rooney had far more to offer coming back than Owen was at that time, because Owen was he was damaged goods at that time. I couldn't believe Man United went for him. It just shows that Alex Ferguson really meant it when he said there's no value in the market, and he just took a washed up Michael Owen on a free transfer just to get someone in. I'm telling you, he would have been one of our biggest transfer mistakes ever. He would have been awful.
It's interesting. I think Michael Owen went there as a replacement for an equally injury-prone Louis Saha, who ended up here.
Well, he took Cristiano Ronaldo's number 7 shirt. He was the first one. This number 7's like revered at Man United, and since Ronaldo, it's been like Michael Owen. I think Memphis Depay's had it. It's just a list of like unspectacular and underwhelming players. I think Antonio Valencia took it for the season and then realised he was going to be playing at right back for the rest of his career and like gave it back. I know. It's just one of them. It's like we did the same thing with number 9, didn't we? We were giving it to Kone and whatever. Weren't we? Like there's nothing
Sandro,
to say you can't do that. But
Sandro, you don't top Sandro, do you?
Yeah, exactly. It's a number that your fans automatically want to have a good player in. So, we've got Calvert-Lewin in it now, and whether you like him or not, he starts every game, and he's one of our 2 main goal threats. So it's an appropriate number. Imagine we had number 9 on perfect example. If we still had it on Sandro, our striker who's not even here, doesn't kick a ball for us. It's Michael Owen just never playing like 2 or 3 games a season with the number 7 was to just kick them right in the balls.
Could be worse. You could be giving Sandro the number 9 shirt, which you could have Kone wearing the number 9 shirt. Sorry, well, Samuel Eto'o's there wearing number 5.
The biggest waste. We're about to do it again with James. I know we are, because James Rodriguez.
Because Gylfi's wearing number 10.
Yeah, he'll take number 2 or number 6 or something like that. Oh, please don't do that. Take number 16 or, I don't know, is 18 available? I feel like it is.
Schneiderlin's just been bombed out, so 18's going.
Yeah, I'd like to see him get the number 18 until we get rid of Sigurdsson and then just switch it. Even if it's this summer. If it's this summer and like Sigurdsson goes at some point and you have to switch and there's about 5,000 shirts with James 16 or James 18 on them, just refund them and I don't want them on a crap number. Get them the best number you can.
That's it, yeah. I'm a big advocate of giving your best players the big numbers, but equally it can keep the pressure off if you don't. So, either way, at that point, if we had brought Michael Owen in, he'd have probably ended up with like number, God knows what he'd have, like, what number we're going back then? The number 7, because Van der Meerde got bombed out. He's probably got that.
Probably. We'd have never seen it. It would have been one of the biggest mistakes we'd made. I know he would have been free, but he wouldn't have come cheap on the wages either.
Yeah, he'd have probably bankrupted us back in those days.
Yeah.
Speaking of injured veterans, at that point, we're going on to our next rumour, which is a throwback to last summer. when we were supposedly offered the chance to sign Bayern Munich stalwart Franck Ribery for free. This one was broken by 90 minutes, and despite being, by the way, he was 36 when we were linked with him last summer.
Yeah.
But he was still gathering a lot of interest, and of course, you get the likes of like Asian clubs and MLS clubs licking the lips because it's a big name. But ultimately, he ended up going to Serie A. He went to Fiorentina, and he helped them finish 10th last season. He only got 3 goals, but I mean, judging by those stats, we didn't really miss out, did we? What would you have made of this one? If I think signing a 36-year-old, no matter how good he is, I think would have made a lot of Everton fans' heads fall off.
Yeah, it would have been a weird one. I don't think we would ever even entertain it. I think that was his agent just trying to drum up some interest. Because let's be honest, like, I'm of the belief if you have a young squad, like 90% young, you can have 1, 2, maybe 3 at the most, 1 for each department of the team, veterans. So you can have a 30-year-old midfielder or a 32, 3-year-old centre-back or like an older set striker. If everyone else in the squad is young and they can sort of absorb from them. Obviously, where we've gone wrong is we've got like half and half. It shouldn't be that. It should be 90-10 split. But I don't think anyone would bring in a 36-year-old winger to the Premier League, let's be honest. A 36-year-old goalkeeper or a 36, 35-year-old fourth choice centre-back like Thiago Silva, if you've got a club that's set up to accommodate that like Chelsea have, that's one thing. But a mid-table, unfortunately, club in the most combative, high-intensity, high-energy league in the world, at 36 when his career's winding down, was a very strange link. Even stranger that it was while Marcel Brands was here, who, as we know, is not famous for wanting to sign older players.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it's not like Everton have had a history of bringing in like washed-up French wingers. I mean, what about that? Whatever happened to that David Ginola?
Ribery would have been worse. He'd have been obviously better quality, but he would have
even
been
older.
Even older. He'd have been even less capable.
More injured as well. He was constantly injured in the last couple of years at Bayern.
Well, yeah, it's just, I think this is bizarre. Like, it was one of them, you could have believed it back in the day. That seems like something that Moyes might have brought in for one season to like flip him. Moyes had that core of 14 players and he only ever added 1 or 2 at a time and then recycled. But there was always the Pinars, the Artetas, the Baines, the Cales, the Osmonds, etc. I could see Moyes bringing in one old star, like player going, we'll have you for a season, see how you get on. If you're at it, you can have another season. But, the squad's pretty much locked in anyway. 2019 Everton, who need obviously a lot of surgery on the squad and still do, and we're trying to get players out and we're trying to lower the wage budget. I couldn't see us bringing in a player like that because people are moaning now 29 for some of the players we're about to buy. We can't sell them on.
36-year-olds and the heads would have just rolled.
People would have been quite happy to see the name Ribery, but like at 36, what's the point? It's like he's playing that five-a-side, Masters football. Playing that eventually, isn't he?
Yeah, to that point, I think Graham Stewart had packed it in with Everton. He was probably younger than that when he started playing the Masters football.
Probably, yeah.
But there you go. Finally, then, on the day where the name on everyone's lips is James Rodriguez, James Rodriguez, whatever you want to call him. We've saved this one till last. We're taking you back once again to the summer of 2012, where we were linked with Jay Rodriguez, then of Burnley, and we couldn't even afford him back then, it seemed. Southampton ended up getting him for $6.5 million, and we had to spend the rest of the summer waiting for the sale of Jack Rodwell to go through to City before we could even think of bringing in a player for that kind of price, and it turned out to be Kevin Morales for about the same price as that. So this one was the most interesting, I think, given Morales became the epitome of inconsistency during his time here. Could it actually be argued that Jay Rodriguez would have been a better signing? Or were the first 2 years of Morales worth it for the $6 million we paid for him?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd still rather have had Morales. I know Jay Rodriguez is retained. He's worth more now, and you certainly wouldn't. You'd have my head of Morales now. But back then, Morales was a cut above Jay Rodriguez. Morales at his best, better than Jay Rodriguez has ever been. But the problem is, Morales just the injuries got to him. His attitude was poor. to be honest, Rodriguez would have eventually been like, he would have eventually been taken over by, the Ross Barkleys coming through, and when we changed manager to Martinez, he might not have fancied him either, and so I thought he would have probably been sold anyway, and we wouldn't have got as much out of him in that short window as we got out of Morales at that time. Obviously, Morales, we took too long to get rid of him because someone at the club gave him a 3-year contract when he should have been let go. Whatever.
God forbid, who was that?
I know, it's terrible, but it's Everton.
It's terrible, but it's Steve Walsh with a briefcase.
No, it was the original Steve Walsh, Mr. Ken Wright. I don't know whether it was pre-Ken Wright actually, but apparently it was Ken Wright. The night of the Dixies gets announced a 3-year contract extension and spent the next 3 of those years out on loan at various clubs before being released.
Yeah, well, that was the summer of 2017. He was still on the book. He was still playing for us then. And it was the Walsh year of that one.
Yeah, fair enough. But I from what I've been told, and I've not got any sources or anything like that, but people who I know who you would know off Twitter and that, they've always alluded to it being Ken Wright because it's part of the Blue family, isn't he? Part of the Everton family, our Kev. Job for the boys.
Our Kev, what, from Old Swan or something?
Yeah, 3-year contract extension to spend the next 3 years out on loan, not kicking a ball for Everton, but us having to pay a percentage of his wage. Back on point, Jay Rodriguez would have been all right if we still had him now because he's an all right player, but I'd rather have had Morales back there, and I stand by that.
So yeah, I think he'd have definitely been a better sign than James Rodriguez anyway, wouldn't he?
Who's James Rodriguez? It's James.
Yeah, who's he though? Like, I'd have Jay.
If people called you James, wouldn't you correct them?
People do call me James.
Just when you're playing 5-a-side, though.
Well, yeah, that and after a couple of drinks as well.
But yeah, Jay Rodriguez, nah, shite. I'd have had Zé Morales over him, even knowing what I know now, I still would have back then.
Would you have Balassi over him?
No. Let's not go mad. Morales was really good at one point.
Balassi was really good at one point, but that was before he signed for Everton.
Well, for the odd game against Liverpool and us.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, it wasn't hard to play well against the Roberto Martinez defence, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll leave it at that anyway. James Rodriguez is... hopefully his name won't be on one of these shows because we'll hopefully get that done.
Well, by the time this goes out, it probably will be done, so you've just give away when we're recording this. But as things are at the time of recording, it's not announced. Just checking.
Just checking. Like, everyone's just teetering on Twitter.
Yeah, everyone's refreshing it constantly.
Yeah.
And by the time the second we finish recording and it goes to edit,
we'll refresh it as well.
Yeah.
There you have it, guys. Drop us a comment. Let us know your opinions on all the rumours that we've gone through, all these old rumours. How you felt about them at the time, how you feel about them now with the benefit of hindsight. Drop us a comment below. Give this video a like and subscribe for more content as well. Until next time, thank you for watching on the Toffee Blues.